Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Z&D Academy course summaries. Listen, if you love structured, premium educational content that makes authentic Islamic knowledge accessible, you're definitely going to want to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Today, we're diving into something absolutely profound. In this explainer, we'll see how just one single verse, literally one sentence, provides a complete, life-altering framework for a Muslim's entire faith. So, let's jump right in. The anchor for our whole explainer today is Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 1. It reads, "O you who have believed, do not put yourselves before Allah and His Messenger, but fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is hearing and knowing." Now, what's really fascinating here is how the esteemed scholar, Dr. Abu Zayd Maki al-Kubi al-Kubi, masterfully unpacks this. He essentially takes these precise words and extracts four distinct, completely comprehensive methodologies from them. It's like finding a giant perfect puzzle inside a single phrase. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to deconstruct this verse piece by piece to reveal the four pillars of al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. First, the sources of reception. Second, the methodology of reception. Third, the methodology of implementation. And finally, the methodology of purification. All right, starting off with pillar 1, sources of reception, which comes straight from the phrase, between the hands of Allah and His Messenger. You know, the ultimate blessing from Allah is pulling us out of the darkness of ignorance and guiding us right into the light of faith. But to actually stay in that light, our guidance has to come from absolutely pure, divine sources, period. So authentic knowledge of our creed, our Aqidah, and our Sharia is derived exclusively from the preserved Quran, the prophetic Sunnah, and the consensus, the ijma' of the companions. We really have to internalize that the Quran is the literal speech of Allah, brought down by Jibril and perfectly preserved. I mean, not a single letter added or missing. It is the absolute ultimate judge. Moving right along to pillar 2, the methodology of reception. This is drawn right from the command, do not put yourselves before. So this specific command tells us exactly how we need to intellectually and spiritually receive divine knowledge without our egos getting in the way. It's a night and day contrast, really. Al-Sunnah uses revelation as the absolute foundation, the ultimate scale. If the authentic text says it, we're in. We accept it as truth. On the flip side, you have the approach of innovators. They tend to submit revelation to scholastic theology, ilm al-kalam or philosophy, or even just their own personal desires. They're basically making human intellect the judge of divine revelation, instead of the other way around. Well, how do we actually receive these texts the right way? It boils down to a few key steps. First, verify authenticity. We only take what is authentically proven. Second, understand correctly. And third, believe without doubts. And a massive part of this is protecting the text itself. We don't twist meanings, that's taharif. We don't ask how. Actually, let me rephrase that. We don't ask how in a way that limits God, which is takif. We never compare God to creation, that's timthil, and we absolutely never deny His attributes, which is ta'til. But what does understanding correctly actually look like on the ground? It means taking the Quran and Sunnah exactly as they were understood by the Salaf, the companions, and those first 3 preferred generations. Any interpretation that contradicts them, we just reject it, period. For example, the early generations understood that angels are actual, real creations made of light. You can't just pop up centuries later and say, oh, well, angels are just metaphors for positive energy. No way. We stick strictly to that original, authentic understanding. Which naturally brings up a question we hear a lot. Does authentic Islamic belief ever contradict sound intellect? The answer is a hard, definitive no. True Sharia never contradicts sound reasoning. Now, does it contain unseen realities, the ghaib, that our minds can't fully wrap around? Absolutely. The intellect might be totally amazed, but it's never going to find authentic texts logically impossible or absurd. Revelation is there to nourish your intellect, not break it. All right, that brings us to pillar 3, the methodology of implementation. This one is drawn from the simple command, but fear Allah. This command to fear Allah is what takes our internal belief and turns it into outward action. It's how we execute practically. So first, make sure your action is based on an authentic source. Second, apply the Salaf's understanding so you know you're doing it right. Third, implement sincerely. This is Tawheed in action, doing it purely for Allah, no showing off. And fourth, avoid extremism and negligence. In Arabic, this means dodging ghulu, which is harsh exaggeration, but also dodging jaffa, which is careless neglect. The whole point of implementing Sharia is walking that perfectly balanced middle path. And listen, this brings us to a really powerful standard of absolute submission. we have to reject invalid objections. Divine commands cannot, and I mean cannot, be overridden by human habits, worldly politics, or what we personally desire. You just can't say, well, my local custom does it this way, or the political climate right now means we should probably change this, if it contradicts Allah and His messenger. The divine command always wins out over human opinions, no matter who they are or what era we're in. To really hammer home the essence of that submission, think about this famous statement from Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, if the religion were based on mere opinion, wiping the bottom of the leather sock would be more logical than the top. I mean, think about it. When you're making wudu, you wipe the top of the sock, even though the bottom is the part actually stepping in the dirt. Why? Because while Sharia brings incredible benefit to us, specific acts of worship are rooted in divine wisdom and humble submission. It's not just about what our human rationale guesses is best.
And finally, we arrive at Pillar 4, the methodology of purification, which is anchored in the closing phrase of the verse, "Indeed, Allah is hearing and knowing."
You see, this isn't just a neat fact to close out the sentence. It's a massive, profound call to tazkiyah, spiritual purification. And it's built on this burning awareness that Allah knows absolutely everything. This ties right into the concept of ihsan, or excellence. Ihsan means worshiping Allah as if you can see Him, and knowing that even though you can't see Him, He absolutely sees you. If Allah knows the exact millisecond a single dry leaf falls in the autumn wind, or when a tiny ant moves a speck of sugar in the pitch dark, He for sure watches our every action, hears every whisper, and knows our deepest thoughts.
So, how do we actively use this awareness to purify ourselves? Here is the practical formula for tazkiyah. First, you've got to empty your heart of spiritual diseases, things like shirk, envy, pride, just clear it out. Second, you fill that newly cleaned heart with pure sincerity, immense love, and true reliance on Allah. And third, you adjust the limbs, meaning your physical actions, to strictly obey Allah's limits. It's like a complete internal and external overhaul, working in perfect harmony.
We've covered some truly incredible ground today, and to think it all came from just one sentence in the Quran. It leaves us with a pretty profound question. If a single short verse at the very beginning of Surah Al-Hujurat contains this much life-altering methodology, what profound depths of the majestic Quran are you still missing? It really kind of sparks a sense of awe, doesn't it? It makes you realize just how much treasure is waiting for us when we really dive into the Book of Allah.
I really hope this breakdown has inspired you to dig deeper. Make sure to continue your learning through the official Zad Academy curriculum. It's where authentic Islamic knowledge is made accessible step by step. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. Jazakumullahu khairan, and we'll see you in the next one.